Hello guys, welcome back. The video is finally here. I collaborated with my friend Moonstone on Twitter and he was kind enough to give us some examples of for loops. So I've got two examples in this video. One is a simple one is a more difficult one. I guess you guys should decide which one is the more difficult one for you. But I would say the first example that we go through is the simpler one, and the second one that we go through is the more difficult one. Also, he runs a different version of C++ on his system, which is why I was not able to demonstrate these programs. But I do have the outputs. Okay, so let's get started. This is the first one. Let's go through with it. Hash include bits/stdc++.h. Now, I know we've been using stdio.h. This is not very different from that. As you can see, he has very kindly written in the comments, this particular header file includes iostream, vector, set, map, and algorithm, all of them. Now, don't worry if you don't know what all of these things are. Using namespace std, and he has created a function here called void solve. We'll go through the void solve later. Let's take a look at his main function first. So int main iOS sync with studio in brackets 0 cin.tie0 solve. Simple things first. Obviously he's calling the solve function right from the main function. A quick reminder, whichever functions that you create in traditional C++ programs, you must call them with or inside your main function, otherwise they're not going to work. As to what the other two lines of code are, again, you don't really have to worry about them. What it basically means is it syncs the input-output to the console. So everything is in sync and not out of sync. Okay? Now, don't worry about those things. We're here for the for loop. Now let's go through the void solve function. Int a5 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So very simple, an array called a of size 5 with the elements 1 all the way to 5. For int x colon a, cout x and l. Now, the way this particular thing is read is you read it like this. For int x in a. Okay, that's another way of associating arrays with for loops. What this is going to do is it's going to read the array that we created. That array is called a. Okay, and again, a quick reminder, the variable created inside the brackets of this for loop will only stay in memory as long as the for loop stays in memory. Once it's gone, the variable will be tossed out. And cout x and l. End l means end line, so all the outputs will be printed very nicely, one in each line instead of being clustered together. Okay, so let's take a look at the output. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we were able to achieve something like this in our previous video as well, but this is another way of doing things, giving you more functionality and adding more tools to your bag of programming. Okay? Alright, let's move on to the next example. For this one, we're going to have to take a look at a web page which gives articles and problems. Okay, so I have it here. I'll have the link in the description if you want to check it out. This page called codeforces.com has C++ problems that you can attempt yourself. Let's take a look at what this problem is. Way too long words. I'm just going to read it very quickly. If you need more time to go through this problem because you might want to attempt it on your own, pause the video and take your time to read it and understand it. I'm just going to do it very quickly. Okay, time limit per test, 1 second, memory limit per test, all that. Sometimes some words like localization and regionalization are so long that writing them many times in one text is quite tiresome. Let's consider a word too long if its length is strictly more than 10 characters. All too long words should be replaced with a special abbreviation. This abbreviation is made like this. We write down the first and the last letter of the word, and between them we write the number of letters between the first and the last letters. that number is in decimal system and doesn't contain any leading zeros. Okay. Thus, localization will be spelled as L10N, and internationalization will be spelled as I18N. All right. You are suggested to automatize the process of changing the words with abbreviations. That all too long words should be replaced by abbreviation, and the words that are not too long should not undergo any changes. Alright, so the input. The first line contains an integer n, 1 less than equal to n less than equal to 100. Each of the following n lines contains one word. All the words consist of lowercase Latin letters and possess the lengths of from 1 to 100 characters. Print n lines. The ith line should contain the result of replacing the ith word from the input data. Alright. So let's take a look at this example of an input-output. So when you type 4 and you type word, when you give the input as 4, it does not do anything. When you put the input as word, since word is too small, it's not going to process it. It'll just skip it. When it comes to localization, however, the word is quite long. And look at this. The word has 10 characters, so what it does is it takes the first letter and the last letter, and in between it prints the number of characters that are there in the word. Same thing with internationalization, I18N, and I am not even going to attempt to pronounce this particular word. Go ahead, you can do it if you want. But it has 43 characters in it. P is the first letter and S is the last letter, and that's what you're supposed to do. Now, if you can do this on your own, you're more than welcome to try. We'll go through the solution in just a moment. Alright? Pause the video if you want to give it a go, and I'll see you when you come back. Okay, I hope you were able to do it. If not, let's see how to do it. Here we go. Now, no fancy namespaces or header files in this one. Hash include IO stream using namespace std. All well and simple. Only one function, int main. Inside that, int n, cin n. So that means we take an input of n. And then the for loop for int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus. I hope you know what that means. String s, we declare another variable string s, and then in the next line we take an input for that with the cin. Quick reminder, cin means console in, cout means console out. If s.length is greater than 10, now what is s.length? The length function is a predefined function, so you don't have to worry about defining it. Okay. String answer equals s of 0 plus 2 string s.length minus 2 plus s.length minus 1. Now, 2 string is also another predefined function, so no need to worry about it. The length function, I think it's pretty much understandable what it does. The length function counts the number of characters of your string, and the toString function converts whatever you want to convert in a string. Okay? Cout, answer, endl. And we're using endl again so that it's properly spaced out, one character in each line, so that we don't mess up, so that the output looks good basically. We're taking the answer out, alright? Else, cout s. Now, what he's done here in brackets /n, that is also another way of creating the same effect that endl does. So your output will be printed in the next line of the console or the terminal. Okay, it's practically the same thing. Alright, I hope you got that. It is, although it doesn't seem as straightforward, it also isn't that difficult. Okay? Congratulations if you had a go at the problem. Kudos if you solved it. If you weren't able to do it, that's okay, as long as you attempted. Your attempt is what counts. Okay? Let's take a look at the output. Here we go. He has attempted the same input-output that was there on the web page. When you print 4, nothing happens. Word, when you print Word, nothing happens. But when you put in localization, you get L10N. When you put in internationalization, you get I18N. And again, the very long word, P43S. Okay, all done using for loops. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this fun collab video. Follow him on Twitter. You can ask him questions as well. I think you can ask him questions as well. He'll be more than happy to answer them. I've got to tell you this. If you're going out, please wear a mask, okay? There's a whole pandemic going out there, if you didn't know, in case you were living under a rock. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subs button if you loved the video. Follow me on Instagram. And one cool thing that I want to tell you guys, I currently did a live YouTube session over on the Cultist Studio YouTube channel with my friend and colleague, and we talked about games and the games industry and game development and all that. If it sounds cool to you, check it out. I'll drop the link in the description or somewhere around here. Also, if you do, head over to my Instagram page. I'm doing a weekly IGTV video series where I talk about different aspects of games and game development. So it's alternative. 1 week I talk about game development, 1 week I talk about games. It's just 1 or 2 minute long videos with some cool transition effects and background music, if you're into that kind of stuff. So check out all of these things out, and I will see you next time. Have a good day, or a good night, or a good evening, whenever you're watching this.